Imagine you're standing in a garden. It's September, the sun is pouring golden light everywhere. And there's this tree, a laburnum, standing completely still. No sound, no movement. It looks dead, empty, finished. But then, one tiny bird arrives, and everything changes. This, my friends, is not just a poem. This is a 60-second transformation captured in words by one of the greatest poets of the 20th century, Ted Hughes. Let's break it down line by line, image by image, and I promise you, you'll never look at a tree the same way again. Before we dive into the poem, you need to know who wrote it. Ted Hughes, born in year 1930 in Yorkshire, England. This man was obsessed with nature, not the pretty postcard kind of nature. He wrote about the raw, powerful, sometimes violent energy of the natural world. But don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, Dilly Teacher. First, what is a laburnum? It's a short tree with long hanging branches, beautiful yellow flowers, and, here's the dark part, poisonous seeds. Yes, this pretty tree is actually toxic. Keep that in mind. Hughes chose this tree for a reason. And the top, he's focusing on the top of this tree, the crown, the highest part. Why? Because that's where the action happens. That's the stage for this little drama. Laburnum equals short tree, yellow flowers, poisonous seeds. Also called golden chain tree symbolism. Beauty mixed with death, danger. Stanza 1. The silence. The laburnum top is silent, quite still. In the afternoon yellow September sunlight, a few leaves yellowing, all its seeds fallen. Okay, class, read these 3 lines carefully. Ted Hughes is painting a picture, and every single word matters. Line 1. The laburnum top is silent, quite still. 2 words dominate this line. Silent and still. The tree is not just quiet, it's silent. Not just calm, it's still. Hughes is emphasizing complete absence of life and movement. This is a tree that has given everything it had. Its flowers are gone, its seeds have dropped, and now it stands exhausted, empty. Think of it like the end of a party. Everyone's left. The decorations are wilting. That's this tree right now. Line 2. In the afternoon, yellow September sunlight. Notice the color. Yellow. The sunlight is yellow. The laburnum flowers were yellow. The leaves are turning yellow. Hughes is drowning this scene in yellow, the color of autumn, of aging, of things fading away. September is the transition month, summer is dying, winter is coming. Everything in this line screams decline. But here's the genius: yellow is also the color of the goldfinch that's about to arrive. Hughes is connecting everything through this one color. The tree, the season, the light, the bird, all linked by gold and yellow. Line 3. A few leaves yellowing, all its seeds fallen. A few leaves yellowing, not green anymore. They're dying. All its seeds fallen. This is crucial. The tree has completed its life cycle for the year. It has flowered, produced seeds, dropped them. It's done. It has nothing left to give. Or does it? Now, if this came in your exam and they asked, what is the mood atmosphere in the opening lines? You'd say, the mood is one of stillness, silence, and decay. The tree is presented as lifeless and exhausted, having completed its seasonal cycle. The repetition of yellow imagery creates a sense of autumnal decline. Got it? Good. Moving on. Stanza 2. The arrival. Line 4 and 5. Till the goldfinch comes with a twitching chirrup, a suddenness, a startlement at a branch end. Boom! 2 words change everything. Till and comes. That word till is doing so much work. It means until. The tree was silent, still, dead. Until this moment. The goldfinch doesn't just arrive, it disrupts. It breaks the silence. With a twitching chirrup, listen to those words. Twitching, quick, nervous, sudden movements. Chirrup, not a full song, just a small, sharp sound. Hughes is using onomatopoeia here. Chirrup sounds like the actual noise the bird makes. And then, a suddenness, a startlement at a branch end. These are abstract nouns: suddenness, startlement. Hughes doesn't say, the goldfinch suddenly arrived and startled the tree. No, he turns the feelings into things. Suddenness, startlement. It's as if the surprise itself has physical weight and presence. The tree is startled awake. At a branch end, she lands at the very tip, the outermost point. She's not diving straight in. She's arriving at the doorstep first. Line 6. Then sleek as a lizard and alert and abrupt, she enters the thickness. Now, this is one of the most brilliant images in the poem. Sleek as a lizard, Simile alert. He's comparing the goldfinch to a lizard. Wait, a bird compared to a lizard? That seems weird, right? But think about it. How does a lizard move? Quick, smooth, darting, sudden changes of direction. That's exactly how this goldfinch moves as she slips into the thick foliage. Alert, her eyes are sharp, watching everything. Abrupt, her movements are quick, no wasted motion. She enters the thickness. The thickness is the dense foliage at the top of the tree. And notice, Hughes says she. This is a female goldfinch. Why? Because she's going to her nest. She's a mother. This is about to become very important. Line 7 to 9. And a machine starts up, of chitterings and a tremor of wings and trillings. The whole tree trembles and thrills. And here, it is the explosion of life. A machine starts up metaphor. The moment she enters the tree, it's as if someone has switched on a machine. The tree goes from silent and dead to a factory of noise and movement. Her babies are in there, her chicks, and the moment they sense their mother, they go crazy. Listen to the sounds Hughes uses. Chitterings, rapid, high-pitched bird sounds. Tremor of wings, tiny wings fluttering frantically. Trillings, musical, vibrating sounds. This is alliteration and sound imagery working together. Trembles and thrills both start with TR. Both suggest vibration, movement, energy. The tree that was dead 2 seconds ago is now alive, trembling, thrilling with energy. And that word machine, it's mechanical, industrial. Hughes is saying that nature has its own engines, its own technology. A mother bird feeding her chicks is as powerful and purposeful as any machine humans have ever built. Exam tip box. If asked about the contrast in this poem, the answer is, the poem contrasts death, stillness, the tree before the goldfinch with life, movement, the tree after she arrives. The goldfinch is the catalyst that transforms the tree from lifeless to alive. Stanza 3, the engine. Line 10 to 12, it is the engine of her family. She stokes it full, then flirts out to a branch end, showing her barred face identity mask. Stop, what is it? There are 2 readings here, and both are beautiful. Reading 1, the tree is the engine of her family. It houses her nest, protects her chicks. It's the home where her family runs like a machine. Reading 2, the goldfinch herself is the engine. She's the one who powers the family. She brings food, she keeps everything running. Without her, the machine stops. Either way, the metaphor of the engine continues. Family as a machine, mother as the fuel. She stokes it full, stokes, like stoking a fire or a furnace. She feeds her chicks, fills them up with food, pumps energy into the system. She's literally fueling her family. Then flirts out to a branch end. The word flirts here doesn't mean romance. It means to move with quick, darting movements. She dashes out to the edge of the branch. And why? Showing her barred face identity mask, the goldfinch has distinctive markings on her face, red, white, and black bars. Hughes calls this an identity mask. It's like she's briefly revealing herself, showing her face to the world, her identity before disappearing again. Think of it like a superhero moment. She does her work inside, feeding her babies, then steps out onto the branch end like stepping onto a balcony, face visible for just a moment. Stanza 4, the departure. Line 13 to 14. Then with eerie, delicate whistle chirrup whisperings, she launches away, towards the infinite. Now she's leaving, but how she leaves is extraordinary. Eerie, delicate whistle chirrup whisperings count the sounds in this line. Eerie, strange, haunting, delicate, soft, gentle, whistle, high-pitched, chirrup, sharp bird sound, whisperings barely audible. Hughes is layering sound upon sound upon sound. It's like the bird is singing a goodbye that's part whistle, part chirp, part whisper, something almost otherworldly. That word eerie is powerful. It means strange, unsettling, almost supernatural. This tiny bird, in this moment, becomes something mysterious. She's not just a bird anymore, she's something magical. She launches away, towards the infinite launches. Not flies away, launches. Like a rocket, like something powerful being released. And where does she go? Towards the infinite. Not towards another tree or into the sky. The infinite. Hughes elevates this tiny goldfinch to something cosmic. She came from the infinite, she returns to the infinite. She's part of something much bigger than this one tree, this one afternoon. She's connected to the endless cycle of nature, life, and survival. The final line, line 15. and the laburnum subsides to empty. And just like that, it's over. The laburnum subsides to empty, subsides, sinks down, settles, quiets. Like water after a wave has passed. The tree doesn't just become quiet, it subsides to empty. Empty is used as a noun here, not an adjective. Emptiness is a destination. The tree returns to its original state, silent, still, lifeless. The poem has come full circle. It began with silence and stillness. It ends with silence and stillness. The goldfinch was a brief, brilliant, explosive interruption, a burst of life in a world of decay. And here's the emotional punch. This is what life is. Moments of incredible energy and beauty, surrounded by stillness. The goldfinch will come back tomorrow. The tree will light up again. But right now, in this moment, empty. It's beautiful, it's sad, it's true. So students, what did Ted Hughes really write about? On the surface, a bird visiting a tree. But underneath, he wrote about how life and death share the same address, how a mother is the engine that keeps a family alive, how the most magical moments in nature last only seconds, how silence and sound, emptiness and fullness are not opposites but partners in the dance of existence. He took 15 lines and created an entire universe. That's the power of poetry. That's the power of paying attention. And that's Ted Hughes. Now go ace that exam. All the best.